talking about it is not something I do regularly. I don't speak about this collection in this way. I always wonder what he was like, aside from all of the things that he had. I always want to think that he was a nice person and that he was a kind person, because I know that he was in charge of a community of people. But I suppose I'll never know, really. I'd like to think that, anyway. The idea of being in a museum on your own is a really exciting one, actually. It certainly makes me feel kind of giddy. It makes me quite excited about what my job is. It's also not the experience that you normally have as a curator. My name is Ciara Phipps, and I'm the curatorial manager of Southend Museum Service. My job normally doesn't entail so much caretaking. We're really aware that we're kind of guardians of this collection. The collection sings almost in the space. You can feel it. And you get that sense from when you walk through the door. You're kind of led up to, almost, you're reaching the peak, the burial mound that is this kind of burial chamber at the end. And you're kind of rewarded with this incredible array of artefacts that are really, really stunning and really, really kind of powerful. They weren't prepared for what they would find. I think they were as shocked as we were to see what they discovered. The lead archaeologist kind of hit the jackpot, really, with where he kind of buried his trowel. The prints is normally in the dark. It's normally pitch black in here until we turn the lights on. So it's very much as though it's still a burial chamber. It's really dark, it's really low lit. The walls are black, the floors are black. So it's a really beautiful kind of glistening, ethereal light. It's quite cloud-like. The body was placed in a certain direction, and we've kept that in this space. So we've got the crosses at one end, the crosses that were placed over his eyes. They're gold foil, so they're so delicate. The arms of the cross have been folded in from the impact of the earth. We've got some really tiny gold coins, and it was thought that one was in the hand of the prince on his chest, and one was in his other hand down by his side. And they're quite worn down. We've got his belt buckle in the middle where it would have been on his body. And at the end of the showcase, we've got his shoe buckles. You get a real sense that this was a person. When we were physically putting the collection on display, it was a really odd experience, to say the least. It was just the two of us, really late on a Saturday night. Southend had just won a match, and so all of the football fans were walking home or going to the pub or wherever they were going, and we could hear these incredible football chants in the background, and then we were really delicately, really quietly, really softly placing these incredible objects in their kind of new burial space almost. We were kind of thrust into contemporary life, but we were handling material that was 1400 years old. We've got some really gorgeous glass vessels, and two of them are green. They're a kind of pale, muted, foresty green. Then you've got two that are really beautifully, vibrantly blue. And you can see the maker's hand. You can see that kind of human, personal touch in those glass vessels, which is something that I really, really love. It's almost like the fingerprint that's been left by the last person that's touched that glass vessel. But it's so rare that I would speak about this as though these objects can make me feel something in a certain way, and they really do. It really makes me stop and take a breath. One of my favourite objects are these beautiful whalebone gaming pieces and a pair of antler dice. You could play with them now. You could physically pick one up and roll the dice. Obviously, we would never do that. The thought of it even makes me nervous and terrified. There was a period of about 1400 years that no one touched these objects. I do remember very distinctly, after we've spent a whole evening putting it on display, I just opened the showcase again to straighten up this piece of painted wood. I've touched the last piece of material that's gone into that showcase. And the fact that that was my hand is both, I suppose, terrifying at times, but also so exciting to know that I've had a physical involvement with this collection in the way that so few people have. We definitely talk to objects in the way that I think people might not think we would do. They mean a great deal to us, so we definitely speak to them in the way that might kind of personalise them. Because we do think about the prince as though he is a person, and he is a person, he was a person, but we think about it in the way that he's almost still here in some way. So we have funny rituals that we kind of undertake every day. Closing the space down, kind of turn off the lights, make sure everything's safe and sound, and say, "Night, Prince." "Night, Princey." It's almost like we are putting the prince to bed.